A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Oh, how does she keep a straight face doing this? You cute little nerds already know we're here to talk about a movie with a kick-ass collection of ass-kicking women, including yours truly, Harley Quinn. We're gonna have some pretty wild fights, some good food, and some time with the world's bestest hyena. So as long as you don't mind a bunch of gratuitous violence and swearing, and you got your content warnings in order, sit back, enjoy some wholesome R-rated fun. Now, where were we? Hello there, and welcome back to 6 Degrees of Star Wars, the podcast where we explore all the ways George Lucas's flagship franchise surrounds us, binds us, and penetrates us in the landscape of cinema. I'm your host, Sam Marchioni. Joining me today, River Lane.
Harley fucking blew up a guy and it fucked up traffic for a week, and Gotham is already bad with traffic, and it's just gotten worse. For that, death to Harley.
Grady Smithy.
My grievance is that she cut me off in traffic and I didn't get to Whataburger before they stopped serving breakfast. And if you're from Texas, you know what a crime that is.
There's Whataburger in Gotham? Nice. And for the very first time, Maboo, Edric.
You guys are all wrong, okay? Harley did nothing wrong except for getting with that fucking clown.
Truly.
We are all here, my friends, to talk about... Depends on who you ask. The title could be Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. It could be Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. It could just be Birds of Prey. But it is a fucking banger of a movie by Kathy Yan. It was the last movie I saw in theaters in 2020. Thank fuck for that, because otherwise it would have been fucking Cats.
LMAO.
I'm so sorry.
Yep, anyway, this is a degree 2 due to the presence of Ewan McGregor playing our villain, Roman Sionis, aka Black Mask. But it's also got Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who not only became Ewan McGregor's wife, but also became Hera Syndulla. And honestly, she feels more like Hera Syndulla in this movie than she does in the Ahsoka series, and I'm mad about it.
Is she even legally allowed to be in anything where there's not at least one evil ex, though?
Yeah.
Haven't seen enough of her filmography.
Me neither.
That said, go watch Sky High. She's so good in Sky High.
That's the movie where
Spoilers!
Shout out to Sky High for real.
God, the only fucking good thing to come out of Suicide Squad was Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn.
Truly. Okay, here's the funniest backstory about this movie. I didn't see this movie in theaters because I was distracted and a college student and broke. So I only really saw movies that I was absolutely certain were going to be knockouts, or that like I had a desperate need to see. Otherwise, I'd wait for them to come out to the streaming services at large. Except for this movie, I had to write a paper about it for one of my classes in discussion of, like, post-feminism or whatever. And I still have the paper. It's sitting in my hard drive. I'm gonna try and not make every point I made in that paper, because while it holds up by college paper standard, it was written in a haze as I tried to pull my brain apart trying to figure something out.
Oh my god, I would have loved to cover this movie for my first year Femme Fatales class. God.
That class, I had to write a paper about this movie and Old Guard, I think, were the two movies I had to write papers about.
Oh, The Old Guard was such a good movie.
Please stop flirting with my boyfriend, River.
It's alright, he already sends me TikToks on the side. Shout out to this movie's opening credit sequence. We love an animated classic. We love the stylization. I don't love getting an only blink and you'll miss it recognition of Harley Quinn, bisexual icon, who apparently is drawn to look like Ivy in the animated series, which is so silly.
It is disappointing there's no Ivy in this. Maybe if we'd had a sequel, except, you know, the world ended from COVID, and also, I can't say this was the first time, because this was after Captain Marvel and every guy with a axe to grind decided that Brie Larson was the devil incarnate, but, like, this movie was definitely in the very first trickle of, it has girls in it, so it's woke and bad, and meh, why do they hate men?
I mean, I have critiques about this movie, but they're not of that variety. They're mostly in the department of while it is stylistically correct for the first act of this movie to be told this way, because yes, that is how Harley would tell the story, it is absolutely bug nuts trying to get a grip on where this movie wants me to be in that first act if you haven't already seen it. And on the other hand, I got a soapbox about Cass, but I'm not going to get on it. I'm going to let other people talk, so you can tell me to shut the fuck up.
If I might break in here, the bit about, the idiots who are like, this movie hates men. This movie doesn't hate men. This movie is not for men. This was made specifically for the women out there. And they're like, if guys like this, great. If guys don't like this, they're not the target audience. And I liked that about this.
Yeah, Grady, but this is Twitter in the year of our Lord 20 whatever.
I know, but they're idiots.
Not being for men is already a threat.
Oh yeah, true. Sorry, yeah. It's just that is exactly how I'm trying to limit myself to work safe language. That's why the horde of idiocy were so angry, because for them it was worse than something that hates men. It was indifferent towards them. As for Cassandra Cain, my feelings there are, I just go into this thinking this is an Elseworlds version of the characters that we know. Some of them may be very much like what we're used to from other stuff. Some of them may be wildly divergent. She's wildly divergent. The character is there to play a very specific role, and being a highly trained assassin is not part of what they're trying to do here. And so I just remind myself, this isn't the Cassandra Cain that we're used to. This is a Cassandra Cain.
My soapbox has less to do... It does have a lot to do with that. Strap in, this is a brief soapbox, but it's a bit of a soapbox. So, Cass Cain, for those of you who are unaware, which I'm going to assume is a small portion of this audience, but not anyone in the current room.
Shout out to Wayne Family Adventures.
Shout out to Wayne Family Adventures for real, even if it is a smidge fanon. It's fanon that lets us have a happy family. God, DC, that's all we want. Cass Cain, in the comics, originally, is the daughter of Lady Shiva, and she has been raised by the League of Assassins to be the perfect weapon. She is mute in most of her first appearances because talking doesn't serve her purpose. When she meets Bruce, she gets kind of broken of some of that and becomes Dad's favorite daughter, TMCR. And she's now currently one of the 3 Batgirls running around, because depending on who you talk to and whether or not Babs is Oracle that week, depends on the writer. But right now, she and Steph have been in their own solo thing, with Babs as sort of running their man in the chair, as she should, as God intended. Or Alan Moore. Anyway.
Don't call Alan Moore.
Alan Moore didn't intend that.
For reasons.
He was like, this is a one-time thing. Why are you still doing this?
Yeah, but I'm not getting on my Barbara Gordon soapbox. I already got too many soapboxes I gotta get on. So
we could have done that, but David Zaslav tossed the Barbara Gordon movie in the vault.
Okay, I felt with that one too. Anyway, point is there is no reason other than brand integration and a smidge of diversity that this character is Cass Cain. Other Bat family members it could have been Harper Row, Steph in a universe where she is knows about her father, but hasn't fully taken up the Oracle or taken up the spoiler mantle yet. Fuck it, if you want to kind of huck out the all-girl team, you could have made it a baby Jason and let Dick be the dead Robin in this universe for once. Or, hey, besties, metatextually, you're making a Harley Quinn movie. The OC, the pinnacle of what it means to be created for one medium and then transferred back into the source material, becoming so popular in both that she can be transferred back out. You could have made this character an OC. It would have worked on a metatextual level to have this character be an original character and not had them be, someone already tied into the universe. And the way they massacre my girl, she basically is. There is no benefit to calling this character Cass Cain, other than audience recognition of, oh, that's a Bat Kid. And even then, Cass is one of the lower, only the hyper nerds know really about Cass. Like, if I put a gun to a normie's head and asked them to name a Bat family member other than Batman and Alfred, and they had to give me a specific Robin and or a specific Batgirl, I don't think they'd give me Cass. So there's, like, for me, that's the most distracting part about Cass's presence here. It's not that I think that, like, I can buy the Elseworlds idea, but for me, it feels like there is narratively no reason for this character to be Cassandra Cain. She could have been an original character, and I think my enjoyment would have gone up by like 5%. Anyway, that's my Cascade soapbox. I'm gonna get off it now.
Valid.
Speaking of our Ewan McGregor of it all, he is devouring the scenery.
If I had a nickel for every time Ewan McGregor was in a movie that had a Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend musical number performed by an Aussie woman, I'd have 2 nickels.
Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. Ewan McGregor came to set and said, I'm gonna make the C-tier Batman villain all y'all's problem. And for that, we thank him.
Apparently he and the actor playing Victor Zaz were playing them as gay.
Oh, 1,000%!
No,
absolutely.
Roman Sionis is the prissiest prissy gay fucking ever.
I've only seen him once or twice in the comics because I read Scott Lobel's Under the Red Hood until it got real bad, which is to say about 4 volumes in. But, like, he shows up in that, and Jason is just taking the piss out of him, and he's so mad about it. I was reading the IMDb trivia page, and they originally wanted it to be Penguin until the Batman said, actually, we're using Penguin. And I don't think the Penguin works for this kind of movie.
Yeah, he would have been the worst choice for this. I mean, yeah, that explains why Roman has the whole nightclub thing going on. But no, you need Penguin for a different story.
Making this movie a breakup movie is also, like, the smartest move this movie pulls, because it sets the sort of, like, how do I want to phrase this? Chaotic girls' night out energy that this movie wants to play in. But the idea that we're gonna get this squadron of miscellaneous Gotham and Central City, because I don't think Canary has ever lived in Gotham.
She's been operating out of Gotham in at least one continuity.
Yeah, like, everyone's worked out of Gotham in at least one continuity. Gotham is Gotham. The most crime-ridden, overpopulated, nightmare, cursed city in all of New Jersey. And that's saying something, because it's Jersey.
Okay, sorry, I just realized something, and I feel, and as a ridiculously uber geek person, I feel ashamed in this. I completely forgot that Simone's Birds of Prey series was set in fucking Gotham. And she was part of the initial lineup on that.
That is the run they're pulling from. Like, let's be so for fucking real. They're pulling from the works of Gail Simone. Do with that information what you will.
But also I wanted to comment and ask you, River, if you had a soapbox about how Babs isn't involved in this whatsoever.
Oh, God. Yeah, kinda. So, the thing about Babs is non-inclusion, because Babs is also traditionally either a bird of prey or she is their guy in the chair, is because there is no Batman, there is no easy... Like, this is a Gotham sans bats. Like, he exists. Like, Bruce at least exists, but this is a Gotham without a bat. And so that means that we cannot get to play with his extended fam of characters because, again, DC editorial sure does have a favorite son.
I think he was busy at that time being Ben Affleck.
Yeah, so, like, you can't afford to pull him in for one movie. But, like, the other thing is that, like, this is a sunnier Gotham than we have ever seen. Gotham is perpetually, you know, a gray and dreary. Like, this takes place in the east side of Gotham, which is, in comics continuity, where Crime Alley is. Theoretically, any of these alleys is where Bruce Wayne's parents died, and the Batmobile tires were stolen.
I want to point out a thought I'm having just now about why this Gotham might seem super sunny. I think it's because the majority of the movie, we're seeing it from Harley's POV, and this is normal to her.
Oh,
so
yeah.
She doesn't register it as dark and gloomy and brooding. Like, so much of Gotham is generally shaped by seeing it through Bruce Wayne's eyes.
The entire ethos of Gotham, for me, is Gothamites will talk shit about Gotham until the cows come home, but the minute some Metroville ass motherfucker tries to talk shit about Gotham, you're getting your fist in your face.
Oh, it's on.
It's Metropolis.
Metropolis, whatever. It's very much that, like, one of my favorite panels that I've ever seen is is Batman in Metropolis and Superman in Gotham, and Batman going, "I hate Metropolis." Superman, "I'm not particularly fond of Gotham." Like, that's the
Clark!
energy.
How could you say that? I thought Ma and Pa Kent raised you better, but let's try to actually focus on the movie that we got, because honestly, we spent so much of Grimm Prairie Tales talking about what we wish the movie were. I'm trying to...
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I like, for me, this movie is fine, but I never think about it if I'm not watching it for something. Like, and I feel like that's a harsher ding than I need it to be. But if, like, I'm pulling up a superhero movie, which I don't do because I don't rewatch movies because I have an eidetic memory and rewatching things is a pain. That's neither here nor there. Point is that, like, a lot of this movie is sort of in this, like, I acknowledge it has good moments. The fight choreography and the needle drops alone are very, very good. The original songs written for this movie are also very good. Experiment on Me by Halsey is probably the best one of them. Do not at me.
Better version of Hit Me With Your Best Shot than the original, actually, and that's sacrilegious as a Benatar fan.
I was actually disappointed by this version of Hit Me With Your Best Shot, but that might be because I grew up going to the local hockey team playing, and that was a frequent song, so I just grew up loving that.
Makes sense.
Cold Crash Picture has a very, because he did an essay about this, because of course he did. He did an essay about it. It comes to my attention that you haven't seen Birds of Prey. And he has a remark about how this movie sets itself up against Suicide Squad in the introduction of either character. Like, the difference between Harley's intro song in Suicide Squad, which I'm forgetting because I haven't seen Suicide Squad.
It's a cover of Leslie Gore's You Don't Own Me.
Yeah, the difference between You Don't Own Me versus The Joke's on You when she blows up the chemical factory, and how that establishes what this movie wants to say about Harley Quinn. Also, everyone has talked about the wardrobe in this movie in regards to Harley, in that she is gaudy, and, like, she's wearing revealing clothing because she picked it, not because male gaze is a hell of a drug. The only costume I have complaints about is Huntress's. Huntress would not pick that top. Her pants are great, her boots are great, her jacket's great. What the fuck is that shirt? I hate it. Anyway.
About Huntress, though, I gotta say that I love how she's absolutely perfect at murder and absolute trash at literally anything else.
Correct! She was raised by murder nuns! Who wouldn't be?
Just having to practice your killer lines. It gives me Inigo Montoya vibes. Like, imagining Inigo Montoya standing in front of the mirror repeating, "Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father, prepare to die." No, that's not it. Let's try this again. And she's just... Also, just the way she's so protective of her crossbow. It's like, I'm not 12! It's not a bow and arrow! Helena, you're adorable, and I love you, my little murder baby.
Someone read The Problem with Susan growing up.
Yeah, my favorite line in this movie is, however, Dinah looking at Cass and going, "Since when did she have time to do a shoe change?" Like, it's that comic book logic where, like, in the gutter space, Harley changed shoes because we weren't immediately looking at her, but calling attention to it gives me a little giggle.
Yeah, that's up there with the hair tie moment, and the hair tie moment lives rent-free in my head. I love it so fucking much.
So great.
The hair tie moment is, like, the pinnacle ethos of this movie. I literally wrote an entire paragraph breaking down the decisions of everyone's wardrobe and how they work in regards to their character. Like, all of Harley's clothing is sparkly and gaudy, partially because we have to create a wardrobe continuity with what we established in Suicide Squad against our wishes. But it's now more of a, this character isn't dressing for the male gaze because a man is directing it, and more, she's just comfortable like that, and she's gaudy and flashy, and she's stealing Sequin's bag because, ooh, shiny, Harley Quinn is a magpie, changed my mind.
She is. She also has ADHD to hell.
Yes, absolutely.
He's more of a magpie than the actual DC villain Magpie is.
Yeah. Whereas, you know, all of Dinah's clothing has to be, you know, a little bit revealing because she is the object of an eye in Roman's club as a singer, and also Roman has hang-ups. But she's still allowed to wear pants and kick the snot out of people. I love how everybody is so kicky in this movie. Everyone except Renee focuses mainly on kicking the shit out of people, and that's very funny.
And the only time Renee kicks anyone is when she's fighting Harley, and they both have each other like by the ear or hair, or whatever it is.
They have each other by the hair.
Renee was trained in cop martial arts.
Yeah, and then Huntress's whole thing, again, everything makes sense of it except that stupid crop top.
I mean, by that logic, it doesn't make sense that she has the most flawless smoky eye.
It's not, though! It's so sparkly and smudged, it's so funny. I actually really like it. It looks sort of like her like half-assed attempt to do what Pattinson's Bats does with like the greaser eye.
Absolutely. Speaking of ill-adjusted at anything but fighting.
That's the thing, is Huntress is traditionally, like, she is also a chronic domino mask wearer, TM. So, like, that's the other thing, is that, like, all of these characters, you know, fucking... Actually, Dinah doesn't wear... Does Dinah wear one? No, she just...
No.
She does at
looks
the
like
end,
that.
I think.
Yeah, she does at the end.
Yeah, in the comics, Dinah's a brunette who wears a blonde wig.
She's so good in this, and I'm so sorry we let you down, Journey Smollett Bell. It should have been you getting the big career boost after Lovecraft Country, not Jonathan Majors.
Oh, truly. She's one of the best in this, and I think that's because Dinah's given the most to work with. Because, like, Renee is a fairly, like, straightforward, you know who she is at the gun. Like, she's the cop, and she's a GCPD cop, which means she has two options. She's either corrupt or trying to work against the corruption, and she's going to get fired by the end of movie.
And also a lesbian disaster.
Yeah, the only good cop in this, the only good cop in GCPD is Jim Gordon, and even then, not really. Because Jim Gordon has plenty of flaws. Take a pick.
He's a cop.
He's a cop. Next question. Anyway, then, like, Huntress is sort of, like, the background haunt. She haunts the narrative, and she's supposed to. And then Harley is, you know, loud and vivacious, and she's carrying the story, but she is very much trying to take the narrator role, unless she is required to be within the story itself. But yeah, Dinah is sort of the one who goes through an arc. TM, like, Harley has one, but Harley, you know, Harley, if you didn't give Harley an arc, it wouldn't matter, because it's Harley, and she doesn't really do arcs. But, like, I feel like Dinah has the most to work with in regards to, like, having the most interaction with Roman and having to deal with whatever the fuck Zaz's problem is.
Harley does have an arc, but not as big of a one as Dinah does.
Harley's arc is settling into herself and actually remembering how to believe in herself post-toxic breakup, you know, as one does.
She's learning how to define herself as something other than somebody's girlfriend.
And also, see small child, you must take care of small child.
Yeah, I have mixed opinions about giving Harley the lone wolfing cub arc. It's not unprecedented. I do believe Harley would take care of a small child if handed one, and would teach small child crime.
I've got a note about her taking on Cassandra as a protege in this. The thing that I absolutely love about that is it starts out as her doing to Cassandra what the Joker had done to her. She just doesn't realize that until partway through the movie, and then she has the moment of clarity. She's like, oh shit.
I mean, yeah, it's the whole insert the reluctant morals discussion of, like, toxic abuse survivors perpetuating cycles without even knowing it until they get forced to correct.
And since Harley has a PhD, motherfucker, she can process that in a way a lot of protagonists can't.
Yeah. Also, I remember reading a post one time about how that Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend sequence, clearly her dissociating to deal with the pain, and how she probably did that a lot during her relationship with the Joker, too.
Constantly.
Yeah, just dove into fake musical numbers to just forget and deal with what he was doing.
Well, now I want to watch Crazy Ex-Girlfriend again. Sorry, babe.
It makes me cry so much thinking about her.
Yeah, my IMDb trivia production note is apparently they were trying to figure out if Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend, if that number was 2 on the nose, and they were trying to figure out Harley's costume for it. Like, did they want to do a complete homage? Did they want to, like, change something up about it? And then the costume designer said, hey, what if we just made it pants? Like, what if we made it the exact same, like, outfit, but just turned the dress into pants? And the director was like, yes, brilliant, go do it! And that's all they did to change it. which is very fun and very silly.
From a costume standpoint, I don't know how well they fit it, because like satin is terrible to put on pants. You can see every crease and every bulge, and it doesn't look like it was fitted very tightly at her crotch. There's no delicate way to put that, honestly, but like you need to have it for like the kicking she's doing and stuff, but at the same time it doesn't look very good. It looks weird and baggy.
For a 5-minute dream sequence, I'm kind of okay with that.
They're counting on you focusing on the hair and on the top.
And all of the background dancers also being muzzled. Fucking full bondage gear face masks. All of the baseball bat fighting in this movie is the reason I want a TTRPG character who solely fights with a baseball bat.
Yeah. The moment where she throws the bat on the floor, it slams the guy in the face and then bounces back and she catches it. God, I love that. Her mastery of anything goes martial arts led me to conclude that the only explanation for this is that the Ace chemical plant was built on top of the cursed Jusinkyo spring of drowned supervillain. Very sad story.
Guys, can you tell that Grady's been rewatching Ranma 1/2?
Just a bit.
Harley's superpowers are cartoon logic, actually.
Yeah, pretty much.
If it works in a cartoon and if it'll work for a laugh, it's gonna work. Which is why I think, like her fun gun non-lethal rounds are like glitter and paint and beanbags,
God, the moment when she comes out of the smoke bombs that are pink and blue and you're like, the bisexual awakening of so many people just happened.
Yeah. Also, her favorite weapon being an oversized hammer.
Yeah. Give her Spider-Ham's hammer from Across the Spider-Verse.
I am a casual Pokemon fan, but I do think Harley's favorite Pokemon would be Tinkaton. Tiny little thing, giant hammer.
I can see that.
I'm of two minds about this. One, Harley definitely has a Mightyena. Like 1,000% has a pair of Mightyenas. But she also like has a Togepi. Like I feel like Harley would love a Togepi.
She absolutely refuses to ever get a Mr. Mime because of the clown thing, though.
Correct, absolutely.
Let's take a second to talk about the fucking clown not in the room. Thank fucking God they did not actually have Jared Leto in this at all. They used Johnny Goth, who's a rock musician, to double for Leto, and then used like some archive shots from Suicide Squad, but I don't know, a tiny part of me wished that they'd just drawn more attention to it in absurd ways and like... Imagine if Harley kept having flashbacks of, here's a Mark Hamill Joker, here's a Jack Nicholson Joker. Let's not do a Heath Ledger Joker, because I'm not ready to talk about that, but...
Too soon.
But, like, that's not this movie.
I guess not.
The less Jordan Catalano is in this movie, the better.
Yeah, the subtitle of this movie being The Fabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn is sort of, like... To have the Joker show up in anything more than that animated intro and, like, the one clip of him we get when, like, you get the guy who's, face vandalism or whatever. To have anything more than that would take focus away from Harley. And that's this movie's whole sticking point, is this is Harley's movie. He does not get to be invited because this is her turn to tell her story.
I understand the logic you're taking with that. I'm talking partially being influenced by the Kaylee Cuoco Harley Quinn series, which yes has its own problems, but I really love that episode where they get trapped in her mind and like she's rediscovering that her memories were wrong about how things went with her and the Joker, and so she revised that. And so in that way I feel like those Joker cameos I pitched could have worked, but I get what you were saying. So I don't know if there's a solution to it or not. Maybe I'm also just like super fucking bitter about the Joaquin Phoenix of it all. I haven't even seen that musical they're insisting is not a musical. All of it looks like garbage to me, but like...
The thing about the Joker is A, he is overrated, and B, he is underrated. He is overrated in the fact that everyone who tries to talk about him is wrong, and he is underrated in the fact that, like, what makes the Joker a functioning villain in any medium is never the thing that anyone is talking about when they're talking about the Joker. Like, there is a reason that the animated series' Joker is sort of like the pinnacle Joker to which all other Jokers are held accountable for. Number one, because Mark Hamill is a very good voice actor, and number
God, kid.
2 is because that show, by nature of being a children's television show, could only get away with so much, so they had to make the Joker a little bit outlandish and yet still threatening. And having to walk that tightrope was a benefit to them in understanding what makes the Joker interesting. And so every other time where we've got to go, ooh, we're gonna go dark and gritty, loses that, like, the Joker is a clown. And 9 times out of 10, his reason for doing anything is for the lulz. And that lull part is always the thing that gets lopped off. Like, any Joker scheme should sound outlandish in a way, not in like a thriller's outlandish and like, oh, it's nice to see a complicated plan come together. No, it should sound outlandish in the, like, what in the Looney Tunes ass logic is this? Because the Joker, and by extension Harley, run on Looney Tunes logic. And also, like, the other reason that he probably didn't prop up is because they couldn't afford all those fucking cameos. This movie does not strike me as a movie with a big budget. Like, it's a big budget movie in the sense that it is a Hollywood production with real movie stars, but it does not strike me as a movie with a lot of money. So, like, they probably couldn't have cleared all those samples. But, like, in the contextual reality of the world we live in, and trying to get the Joker to work in a property that isn't the animated series, which is never going to happen because the Joker is a cartoon character and he works best as a cartoon character. Batman has so many other weird villains. Matt Reeves, I know you want to make that serious grounded Batman universe. Just make the next villain Mr. Freeze. Do it, you coward.
To address your budget thing, the Wikipedia listing says that this movie's budget was between $82 million and $100 million. And yet somehow they managed to get their night scenes looking good.
Yeah. This movie has an understanding that the moon is a blue spotlight, but also, like, it has great work of neon and a great understanding of, like, even the scenes in the funhouse, which could have been very dark. They're all well lit because there has to be a fight scene in there and we have to understand where the hell we're going on in. But yeah, the night scenes are the only time where I'm like, oh, this is Gotham, actually. I understand. Like, fog on the pier trying to obscure where the fuck Roman and Cass are. I'm like, oh yeah, now we're in Gotham.
That's the most Gotham that Gotham is.
Like, an inappropriate amount of fog. No real sign of where it's coming from. Perfect. This is Gotham.
Hey, Chewie, you were eager to participate in the conversation earlier. Do you have thoughts on Bruce the hyena?
He has 0 comment, as he cannot hear you.
Shout out to Bruce the hyena. Apparently they did want 2 hyenas, and there was a trained one available, but hyenas are incredibly territorial, so they wouldn't be able to reuse any of the sets that the hyena had been in, so they just bought a dog and let the dog do it, and then CGI'd a hyena over top of it, and the VFX budget could only afford 1 hyena, so that's why there's only 1 hyena.
Okay, then.
So, I first watched Birds of Prey when it came to streaming because I'm a broke bitch. The last movie I saw in theaters before shit locked down was Captain Marvel. No, it was Star Wars.
Oh no.
I'm sorry.
God, when we get to Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. And Birds of Prey kind of just threw me headfirst into just absolutely loving Harley Quinn, and I still have not read the comics. And to some degree, I feel grateful for that, but at the same time, every time I hear news about the DC movies, I'm just like, oh my fucking god. Because I worry that they're gonna keep doing Harley wrong, or do Harley wrong in the future. But getting back on topic, I watched Birds of Prey over lockdown, and just, god damn it, I wish I'd taken notes while watching.
Valid.
But I watched late last night. Didn't even get to bed until after 2.
Oh, honey, no.
One thing that really struck me is that they kept teasing how Dinah had this power throughout the movie, and they didn't break it out until the very end. And I really loved the timing of it, too, because it was such a critical moment, right?
Yeah, and how great is it that the thing that's bowling over all the thugs is actually the jet boost that Harley needs to try and go after Roman?
Right?
Oh my god, that pure comic book logic, because in the real world, you know, the roller skates would fall apart. There was actually a Wayne Family Adventures comic about that, where, like, I think it was Dick and Wally were trying to figure out other ways that speedsters could carry friends.
I fully buy that. That's less a Wally move and more of a Bart move.
I'll be honest, I can't keep all the flashes straight, and also I recently learned that the screenwriter of this movie is also a credited screenwriter on the goddamn fucking Flash movie, and I'm like, what happened?
Seriously.
The easiest way to keep the Flashes apart is to figure out which bat they are. The easiest way to keep the Flashes together is to figure out which bat they are associated with. Dick and Wally, Tim and Bart. Jason doesn't get one because Jason is the odd man out.
Christina Hodson has one of the most wild lists of filmography I've ever seen, especially given how short it is. Like, she does Bumblebee, she does a short film in the Michael Bay Transformers universe, she does Birds of Prey, and The Flash.
I mean, yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna blame the other writers from that last one.
Yeah,
Has to be.
I mean, the
she's
Flash
the
is
only credited screenwriter. She doesn't have a story credit, but like, God.
Nah.
I'm just gonna hope that the others decided to Alan Smithy the thing. I don't know.
Everything about the Flash movie upsets me in different ways.
For one, their awful misuse of Sasha Calle. I wish she had gotten to be Kara for much longer, but I digress.
Speaking of misplaced actors, the other options for Roman were Sam Rockwell and Nick Cage, and God, I want Nick Cage as Roman.
That would be fascinating.
It's wrong for this movie. Like, I think for this movie specifically, Ewan is the right choice. But God, at some future point, Nick Cage Roman would be so funny.
We absolutely need him to play Black Mask just to see what he would do with it, because nobody is going to see it coming.
Looking at some of the other options as well, like, they had Janelle Monáe and Gugu Mbatha-Raw in the running for Black Canary. I would have loved to see Janelle Monáe's rendition of This Is a Man's World.
Ooh.
God.
Yeah.
Janelle Monáe as Black Canary. That would be so funny. Because every woman in this movie is tall. Like, granted, most of them are wearing, like, platform boots, but I think, like, even base Margot Robbie is, like, what, 5'7"?
Oh my God, I love Canary's big honkin' gold platforms, and I'm like, how are you driving in those, ma'am?
How are you kicking in those?
Margot Robbie is 5'6", so you're an inch off.
Yeah, but she's like relatively, tall by
average
women's
height
standards. Yeah. And so, like, the idea of 5'2", 5'3" Janelle Monáe,
5 foot
space,
flat.
Yeah, 5 foot flat Janelle Monáe is very funny.
Yeah.
And would have made the, like, killer voice gag a lot funnier too. But, like, that's not what this movie was going for.
Also, I think her being a canary would have just absolutely killed all the gays, apart from even how much they were already dead.
Yeah, because this was, like, right after Dirty Computer, right? Like, I feel like Dirty Computer was recent.
Hang on, let me pull up Google.
While you're pulling that up, I do have a question that I want to ask the group. So, breakfast sandwiches. How do you like your eggs on those? I like over medium, because that way it's mostly fried, but there's just going to be just enough yolk leaking out to give it a little bit more oomph. But how about y'all?
Is there a space between over medium and over easy? Because I do like a gooey egg. Like, what I like to do is, my godmother's daughter, so I call her my fairy godsister, she turned me on to dipping French fries into an egg yolk and calling it a dippy egg.
Fascinating.
You were trained well.
Dirty Computer came out in 2018, so...
Yeah.
So it was close enough to have the exact effect you described, yeah?
Yeah.
So, River, for your breakfast sandwich, how do you want the eggs?
I am a fried hard girly.
Mm-hmm.
Girly, gender neutral. I am occasionally, like, if it's got, like, a little yolk, I'm not gonna complain, but I can't do an over easy egg. It will drive me insane.
Fair enough.
But yeah. I'm a fried hard. There is a breakfast sandwich place near me that has, like, it's a biscuit and then a fried egg, and then pork belly style bacon and a Kraft single, and they add hot honey, which I usually skip, but it's like a biscuit the size of your face. And that my Harley Quinn breakfast sandwich. If anything happened to me while I was eating that sandwich, I too would go on a chaos spree.
And Ed, how about you?
Scrambled all the way.
Classic.
I have a thing against fried eggs because of father issues, to put it nicely.
Oh, fuck your sperm donor.
Mm.
Yeah, and the only way I like fried eggs, typically anyway, is fried hard. So if I'm gonna have eggs done the way I like them, I'd rather have them scrambled.
I love how this breakfast sandwich is shot. Bodega. I would also kill a man for a bodega breakfast sandwich if I was not about to eat it.
Oh, yeah, something in just the grease on the grill and...
And I'm sure listeners at home have already heard this little factoid, but did you all know those eggs were actually duck eggs because Margot's allergic to chicken eggs?
Yes. She's specifically allergic to the whites, apparently gives her migraines.
Ouch.
See, I'm used to eggs. This has happened in a couple people in my family, including myself. I'm used to eggs, believe it or not, giving people eczema, or as we call it in my family, eczema.
Oh!
Boo! I love that roller derby is the hobby they decided to give Harley post breakup because A, it's an incredibly Harley hobby. B, it's important to the climax. And C, it's the correct hobby.
She is called the Mistress of Mayhem at least once, I believe, in the comics. What is roller derby if not mayhem?
Exactly.
Gay. My understanding
That too.
of roller derby is that it is very, very sapphic.
And incredibly.
Which is also a reason why it's the correct hobby for her, because...
Yeah. Also, I want you guys to understand how deep my Harley brain rot goes, because... You know how they have those scenes of Harley, like, fixing her tattoos after Joker and she break up? So, like, she turns the J into a mermaid's tail, and she turns Puddin' into pudding cups. I swear to God, the little heart that is P and H, I didn't realize for the longest time that that was Puddin' and Harley. I thought it was Pamela and Harley.
I don't blame you.
And I just realized I mispronounced the name of one of the comics creators I name dropped. Colleen Coover was the artist on the comic that had made Harley part of a roller derby team shortly before this movie came out, and I refuse to acknowledge any possibility other than that they were doing a nod to this specifically.
There is something in the verve of this movie that makes me want to chew on it, but like...
Oh my god, I just realized I got her name wrong a second time. It was Amanda Connor. I am a bad fan.
Turn in your fan card, please exit through the Sarlacc pit.
I'm just gonna go live in the corner and think about what I did. Don't mind me, I'm gone.
Yeah.
And you will do it with all Roman's weird colonialist trophies staring at you. Like, God.
That was so bad.
I forgot there were shrunken heads in this movie.
Such a fucking great touch for a villain. Like, even with him lampshading that he's reveling in stolen relics from non-white cultures, you're like, you're the villain, and so I'm supposed to have a problem with you doing this.
Yeah.
Because you are the worst!
But also during the grievances list, did anyone catch that it says that she voted for Bernie?
That's my favorite.
Oh, I have the full list tagged, because everybody's gone through it. So we have... Broke his driver's legs, pronounced it espresso, have a vagina, voted for Bernie, peed in his Brita, called him Romy, stuck gum under his chair, stole the remote, called him Queef Richards, sold a family heirloom, spoiled a lot of movies, stole his limelight, left a floater, interrupted him once, didn't laugh at his joke, forgot to use a coaster, burped the alphabet, trashed his bathroom, left the toilet seat down, changed the channel, broke a window, ate his lunch, crashed his rolls, ripped a loud one, caused a ruckus, graffitied his car, and torched his paintings.
As is her God-given right. Good for her.
As he deserved.
My client did nothing wrong, Your Honor.
And see, okay, here's my thing where I was bringing up the Bernie thing. She was broken out of jail. And in most U.S. states, especially New Jersey, as long as you've served your time, you can vote. Like, how the hell did that work out with her because she was broken out of jail?
Who said she was voting under her own name?
Oh! Yeah, hi. Sam from the future here. If you can't tell, we recorded this before the election.
Yeah, there's that. I was gonna say, it's some sort of behind the scenes, like Amanda Waller, like Starship Trooper style. Like, if you survive being on the Suicide Squad, you can get your vote as a treat.
Yeah, this is the fictional universe, and for all we know, Gotham can't, like, afford to not have criminals vote, because then, like, nobody would vote.
Truly.
I have this idea about setting a series in Gotham, but not like having it be about all of the supers nonsense, just having it be like about the townsfolk who choose to live in this uber cursed city.
Okay, so you're talking about Powerless.
Listen, I wanted Powerless back so badly.
Powerless was so good.
I had ideas about which Bat Kid they were gonna bring in. Spoiler alert, it was Tim, because Tim is usually the CEO at this point. More movie bad guys should get blown up, but like personally, to bits. To shreds, they say.
Anakin Skywalker sends his fucking regards, Obi-Wan.
Yeah!
Who has the high ground now, bitch?
Harley.
He and also he.
Also, how appropriate is it that we've got a villain who is totally phobic about messes, whose final fate is to be just a literal huge mess?
I love mess.
That is the best.
I also, on a metatextual level, love ending this movie on Women by Kesha.
Yeah.
Metatextually, that works on so many levels. It's so good.
Justice.
Justice.
Very nice.
Woman went on my Fuck You, I Rock playlist.
I think Let Them Talk went on mine.
It's a banger soundtrack.
It is. Again, Justice for Experiment on Me by Halsey.
If there's ever a future Harley movie, you know what song they should do?
Ooh, tell me.
Joyride.
Oh, 1000% Joyride.
Because that just fits the cacophony of Harley's character so well.
Definitely better than whatever the fuck Gaga's doing right now. Like, how the fuck do you fuck up Lady Gaga doing Harley Quinn music? Like, I'm not even saying that Lady Gaga should be playing Harley, because I don't think she should, but, like, Lady Gaga should be the soundtrack to a Harley Quinn movie. That makes sense.
They should have had Bad Romance at least.
It definitely was one.
Sometimes you look at that falls into the Suicide Squad of that's a little too on the nose.
I kind of wish Megan Thee Stallion made a cameo.
Oh yeah, especially since she's on the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Megan Thee Stallion. Just keep showing up as cameos in superhero movies, because she's also apparently in Venom.
Good for you, Megan Thee Stallion.
Good for you, Megan.
Fuck it. Megan Thee Stallion shows up in The Penguin as the new Black Canary. I will run with it. She can act. Like, I saw her in Dix the Musical, which I don't fully recommend, but she was fucking great in it.
Megan Thee Stallion is actually a Nexus being. She is what's going to give us the Amalgam universe.
I'll take it.
Also, many people have made this observation before me, so I acknowledge that I'm not being original in pointing this out, but it's like one of the cornerstones of the Gotham economy is building amusement parks that then immediately get abandoned for supervillains to use as lairs.
I mean, it's no worse than Angel Grove and their abandoned warehouse districts that all the Power Rangers can fight in no problem.
The Phineas and Ferb joke of...
It's at the old abandoned amusement park over on the next hill.
Did you just say the old abandoned amusement park?
Yes, the old abandoned amusement park.
Old abandoned twice?
Yes.
You know, honestly, if you told me that Gotham was part of the tri-state area, I would believe you.
No, that's so good! That's so good!
Doofenshmirtz and Sionis team up when?
No! Doofenshmirtz would hate Sionis! Absolutely not!
Perry the Platypus would wipe the floor with Sionis.
1,000%!
Perry the Platypus? Where's my flying car, Perry?
Swampy Marsh, Dan Povenmire, hire us!
No, because like they've already done Marvel. Phineas and Ferb are how we get the Amalgam universe.
Aren't they a little young to be starting an Amalgam universe?
Yes, they are. No, Phineas and Ferb are actually Batman's tech guys. Batman decides he needs to stop leeching off Wayne's R&D division and hires a couple of 12-year-olds. We already know he doesn't have a problem
That is
with child labor.
terrifyingly accurate.
They were interning for Lucius Fox.
Yeah! Fucking Vanessa hooks up with one of the Bat kids. She hooks up with Dick. Who are we kidding?
Yeah.
Or Tim and Stephanie see her across the room and they like her vibe.
Well, so
Oh
Stephanie...
no, they're
No.
siblings!
No, so...
Because it would
no,
make Chuck
Tim and-
Dixon's head explode and fuck that guy.
No, because Tim's currently dating Bernard, and Bernard and Tim are already trying to unicorn hunt Khan.
Oh no! What?
That needs to get messier. They made the wrong super son bisexual, and I stand by this. Connor Kent has not been wearing an earring and an undercut since his creation in the 90s for his dumbass brother to get aged up and turned bisexual because one writer had a fucking ship he wanted to capitalize on, and he needed to age up John to get it. Anyway, Connor Kent is also bisexual. I've seen your little earring, Mr. Kent.
Honestly, I operate on the assumption that everybody is bisexual until proven otherwise. And
Yes,
this movie
exactly.
is one of the best baselines of that I can think of. Like, I just assume that all of the characters in Birds of Prey are bisexual or gay. No one in Birds of Prey is straight.
The only exception to everyone is bisexual until proven otherwise for me is Ivy. That woman's a lesbian.
I have no dog in that fight.
This is making me rethink a lot of Uma Thurman stuff.
She may have been straight before Jason Woodrue turned her into a plant, but yeah.
But hey, that Poison Ivy was directed by a gay man, so maybe.
You know, those Schumacher Batmans, I'm assuming they're somewhere in the degrees, but like, man.
We'll get there when we get there.
I just saw one of the notes that I made, and I wanted to make sure that I mentioned this. The fight in the Funhouse, spiritually, It's very close to the fight at the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, with Cassandra being their baby Groot.
Yes. It's not done entirely from her perspective. They're sitting in the same
They're
book,
cousins.
but they're not on the same page. Yeah, sitting on the same bookshelf.
Like, I looked up that scene to rewatch the hair tie moment because, again, lives rent-free in my brain. Like, I know the YouTube comment section is a wretched hive of scum and villainy, but, like, the number of people who are like, oh my god, the fight choreography in this is so bad and so sloppy, why are they like this?
No, the choreography was exquisitely done to portray a chaotic situation.
Yeah, like everyone in this movie has sort of, because first of all, we are in a low power scenario, so this isn't like somebody where, you know, with Echo, who's able to like mimic any fighting style they see. These are all people who have been either trained to a certain level, but are fresh out of a non-training scenario like Huntress, trained only insofar as to avoid combat, but should push come to shove in the case of Renee, even Dinah to some extent. And then Harley, whose fighting style is essentially pick up the nearest bludgeoning object and whack until they stop moving.
Harley, barbarian or straight barbarian?
Straight barbarian.
Monk.
A couple levels in Monk.
Monkbarian, yeah.
The only thing you'd give her Monk levels for is to get on arm strike. So, like, one level in Monk, really. Otherwise, she's perfectly fine as Barbarian.
Okay, the moment of Huntress, like, just repeatedly stabbing the guy as she goes down the slide, and she's still stabbing when they get out, and everybody's staring at her. She's like, what? And Harley's like, you're so cool.
Correct!
Like, that's one of the moments where I'm like, where's this Harrison Dula?
That is the other thing that, like, irked me about this movie that I ended up writing about in the paper. Is, like, this was billed as a team-up movie, but it takes them until the third act to actually get them to team up. And, like, while I love post-fight margaritas and all of the, like, little bonding moments we get in between, I would have liked a whole movie with these guys, please. Please? Please?
All things considered, this movie could have been longer. This movie is 109 minutes. That is pretty short by movie standards. That is under 2 hours. I feel like we could have had a little more time with the girls, because it also kind of reminds me of that John Mulaney bit about how he doesn't believe that women could do a heist movie because they'd all start being catty to one another. And when the Ocean's 8 movie happened, I love Ocean's 8 for the most part, by the way, certain cast choices notwithstanding, but they all got along super fucking well, and everyone's like, oh, it's kind of boring when there's no drama, but in this one there is drama just because there are different personalities working so well against each other.
Yeah.
And everybody's just done with Harley's nonsense.
Yeah, it's about Renee being completely over the Kevlar corset, but then Harley being like, no, it's useful, it's bulletproof.
Gotta protect the girls.
Gotta protect the girls.
Which, that's the most unrealistic thing, is that, like, not the bulletproof corset, but the fact that Harley's cup size is the same as anyone else's in this. Bra size consistency in this economy?
None of them are really members of the Tiggle Bitty Committee.
Renee is, I think. I wasn't paying attention. I'm not that flavor
I don't know.
sapphic.
They all look skinny to me except for Cass.
Renee's a little bit more.
I mean, I think they could all share sports bras very easily.
Probably.
Nope. Rosie Perez is in fact a Tiggle Bitty committee member. At least just based on this image, I'm gonna.
Depends on the outfit she's got on.
She does a great job in this movie.
Yeah, everyone in the cast is a lot of fun. They clearly like what they're doing.
I hope they have like a group chat together. I hope they're still friends.
That would be great. And yeah, after Harley, my biggest casting concern, well, I had heard so much about Margot Robbie that I wasn't worried about how she was playing Harley in this one, because I refused to see the Suicide Squad movie because fuck Jared Leto. The casting decision that I was most concerned about on this one was Renee Montoya, because second after Harley Quinn, this is the character that is most dear to me from the comics. And I love how good a job Rosie Perez did.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who else they considered for her?
Do tell.
Justina Machado.
Not familiar.
She would have killed.
Have you watched the Harley Quinn series?
Yes.
She voices Joker's girlfriend Bethany.
Oh my god, I love her.
And they also tried Roberta Colindres, who I don't really know, but apparently she did Fun Home, the musical, which queer Latina. Good for her.
Roberta Colindra's a little bit too skinny and young, though.
Yeah, I think
I'll
the
say that.
young part was probably a big part of it. Like,
And she's tall, or she looks tall to me, but she's only.
there's nothing wrong with tall, but
You do need somebody that is older because she's been on the GCPD long enough to have developed a drinking problem as the only way of coping with the fucking job.
and also she's been in the force long enough that she should have made captain, but what's his face got it instead because man, I swear to God, her partner turned captain looked like Ernie Hudson, but it's apparently Stephen Williams, so I'm bad with faces.
There's a slight resemblance, but yeah.
I mean, it seems like an Ernie Hudson role, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, honestly, the first time I saw it, I thought it was the guy who played the captain on the 21 Jump Street TV series back in the 80s.
I think it is.
I'm on IMDb.
What you do instead of things.
Oh, yeah.
That I wasn't entirely sure, is that him or isn't?
Yep, it's him. He played Captain Adam Fuller.
That's why I thought it was him. Cool.
Congratulations, Grady. There's your power word age for the day.
Hey, Sam. He's one of the many people that we can use to do Supernatural.
Oh god, yeah, he is
Oh.
Rufus.
Why are you testing the limits of our relationship like this?
Because he's also in Jack and the Giant Slayer. Oh my god, yeah.
Oh, God.
Baby, you know I've been obsessed with Supernatural since we got together.
I know.
Listen, Sam, if Ed doesn't subject you to Supernatural, I eventually will.
You know how to make me do a thing, okay?
I'm still waiting for you to let me do Bebop!
We need to discuss the dub situation before we get the Bebop thing out there. But given that we're having this discussion and we're on the train to Tangent Down all the way, I'm gonna stop right here and ask at this station, is the Force with it?
Oh, absolutely.
Always.
By technicality, I have more positive thoughts to say about it than negative, so yes, but with an asterisk.
I will take it. I will make it unanimous. Welcome to the dark side with the Gotham City Sirens. Not technically the name of this movie, but fuck it, we're all saying the Force is with it.
Woo!
Woohoo!
Woo!
We're dealing in absolutes.
Yippee!
Alright. Who has pluggables?
I have two, and I'm going back to my old standard of choosing things that are related to this, which I'm not a part of, I'm just a fan of. The first is the DC Black Label series Harleen by Stjepan Sejic, which is a reimagining of Harley's origin and how she winds up getting drawn into the Joker's wake and then breaking away from him and beginning to rebuild herself. It is beautiful and terrifying and horrific and absolutely worth the read if you haven't seen it. The other one is another comic by DC. This one is Gotham Central because that's the one that made Renee Montoya an A-list level character, if only for a brief time. It's a police procedural set in Gotham, the night shift, where Gordon and his people have gone home for the evening and Maggie Sawyer and her cops have taken over. And the storyline that Montoya gets in that is one of the best things of the decade that it came out.
River?
You can find me on Twitter at DreamsRebel for as long as Twitter will allow me to continue to access it. You can find me on WordPress at filmlion.wordpress.com. You can find me on Letterboxed at punk_skeleton. And you can also find me as the host of another podcast in this here walls called Straights Aren't All Right, in which I gather a bunch of queers together and ask the question, are the straights, like, okay? We have one episode up currently, and the second episode should be up by end of November.
Woohoo! Ed?
If you're a Tumblr user, please consider checking out pillowfort.social because Tumblr CEO Matt Mullenweg is a giant man baby who cannot take criticism.
Oh boy. Gotta love social media completely imploding. We had a good run. This is also going to be the introduction of our mutual aid spotlight, because, in the spirit of Star Wars, this is the time to be there for the people who need us. This episode's spotlight goes to the One Body Initiative, which brings medicine, bedding, shelter, and other necessities to civilian families who have been displaced by the continued bombing and ground attacks in Gaza and need help now more than ever. The GoFundMe link can be found in the description for this podcast, as well as on my various socials under my new handle, Demisem. Our theme music is provided by Refractory Period, the two girls, one beat synth pop sensation. You can follow them on Instagram at Refractory Period, the band. To further support this podcast, please subscribe to us on your platform of choice, leave reviews, and share with your friends to boost our visibility, and consider joining our Patreon. And now, it's time to turn to the Chance Cube to decide where our journey takes us next.
That's a 6.
Holy shit.
Oh, it's a 6. So that means that for our Native History Month episode, we're going back to one of the earliest films ever made with an all-native cast. 1920's The Daughter of Dawn.
Nice.
And it's on YouTube for everybody to watch, so I expect everybody to watch it and have an educated opinion on it that is going to be completely reasonable and well-informed. We'll see you all then. Until then, stay safe, stay strong, stay beautiful, and may the Force be with you.